Hello, I'm Brett Knowles from PM2 Consulting. This short YouTube takes you for a quick tour of best practices around pharmaceutical sales force management and, of course, effectiveness. We've been involved in the performance measurement space for the last 20 or 30 years. We've been involved from the very beginning of some of the initial research at Harvard University that led to the acceptance of concepts like the balanced scorecard. And since then, we've done 2,000 or 3,000 organizations in every sector around the world. The learnings that we've achieved from these different organizations are transferable, but there's some unique issues we need to deal with in the pharmaceutical area. These are captured in a paper we've written called the 5 Steps to Pharma Sales Force Effectiveness, which has been sponsored by a number of organizations, including Cognos. This is backed up by a lot of research that's been done around the world, and much of this research you're probably familiar with. The essence of it, if we pick out a few key elements, is the years of exclusivity that we have with drugs has gone from a decade back in '68 to less than a year in some cases now. We also see less access to physicians. It's tough to see physicians these days, and when you do, you can only see them once or twice a year. Most importantly, how we sell is different. There's a larger account-based selling which is going on, and this is driving the complexity of the sale. There's larger payer contracting going on, which is requiring us to have a stronger value proposition, and the physician-centric selling is getting smaller and smaller. This means the skills that we need, the techniques that we use, and more importantly, how we manage those things needs to change as well. It doesn't need to be complicated. There are really just 5 phases that we need to do to put in a better management system, a better scorecard. The first is to capture your strategy, the strategy around that particular drug or that particular market, that particular brand, or even the overall organization. And the idea is to be very clear about what are the objectives and how important are they this year, next year, and so forth. It's about keeping the message simple so that we can manage the few critical things to success. From there, we can begin to identify key performance indicators from what already exists in the organization. The data is there, we just need to find it and put it into context. From there, we have to do the most important step, which is translate these objectives into the processes and projects we need to do to be successful. You see, no matter what your strategy is, if your processes are not providing support to those objectives, you're not likely to succeed. The dilemma is we normally manage our organizations by silos. We look at each process individually and not understand some of the systemic issues which will lead to strategy failure. Our job is to understand where those linkages are and make them available to leadership to make the effective allocation of resources. We can understand how well we're performing against each of those objectives and begin to assess the initiatives and projects we have to see if they'll actually close those gaps. Based on these findings, we need to begin introducing new ways to manage our sales forces, linking it to incentives and progressive reward structures that are linked to the success of the strategy as well as the specific tangible goals like sales quotas and contacts. And then finally, we need to use this to manage the business on a day-to-day basis. This is not complicated. The organizations we work with already have these building blocks. They have reward systems, but they're not aligned to strategy. They have strategies, but they don't understand how they link to processes. They've done the Lean Six Sigma process analysis, but haven't understood how that contributes to success strategically. So it's 5 simple steps. In fact, in many organizations, we can get these 5 steps completed inside of 5 days because we're building off the resources, the data, the structures, the processes which are already in existence in the organizations. If you'd like to learn more about this or other concepts, please join us at pm2consulting.com. In the Insights tab, you'll see 200 or 300 webinars describing different aspects of how you can better manage your sales force. Thank you for your time.